The first ship. The day humanity accidentally rediscovered its own teeth. If that's space junk, I'm retiring. Captain Dame Webb had seen space junk before, burned out freighters, dead habitats, one unfortunate luxury liner that still broadcasted smooth jazz for 200 years straight. This was not that. The object hanging in front of the UES Explorer was wrong in a way that made experienced spacers stop joking and start checking seals. It was massive, far larger than any civilian hull, and its silhouette didn't match modern United Earth design language. No graceful curves, no modular symmetry, just layered armor, overlapping weapon housings, and a spine that looked like it had been built to absorb bad decisions at relativistic speeds. Tell me that's an asteroid with ambition, Lieutenant Hale muttered. Navigator Reyes swallowed. Sir, I'm getting a transponder echo. Weak. Old. How old? Reyes hesitated. 3 centuries, give or take. Dame leaned forward in his chair. Read it. United Earthship Designation, UES Gauntlet. The bridge went quiet. That name wasn't just old, it was buried, classified so deeply that even historians treated it like a rumor. The Gauntlet had been a prototype warship that vanished 300 years ago during a black-budget program called Project Realignment. Officially, it never existed. Unofficially, it was whispered about in naval academies like a bedtime story meant to scare arrogant cadets. Dame exhaled slowly. All right, somebody explain to me why humanity lost its biggest ghost, and we just tripped over it like a couch in the dark. The Gauntlet didn't answer, but it was definitely listening. Humans don't build that unless they're terrified. The UES Explorer wasn't a warship, it was an exploration vessel. Lean, clever, and designed to run rather than fight. Its crew was trained for first contact protocols, anomaly analysis, and diplomatic disasters caused by poorly translated greetings. They were not trained to meet relics of humanity's worst-case planning. Commander Voss pulled archived schematics onto the main display. Most of the Gauntlet's files were corrupted or deliberately erased. What we have, she said carefully, suggests this thing was designed to fight an enemy the designers didn't think they could beat twice. That comforting, Hale said. Dame nodded. Which means we're not the intended users. We're the backup plan. That was humanity's habit, really. Other species planned for dominance. Humans planned for failure, and then engineered their way out of it, which was exactly why the Corvus Empire had never taken them seriously. The Corvus were elegant, ancient, politically polite, militarily supportive. For 50 years, they'd positioned themselves as allies, helping humanity standardize trade routes, advising on fleet doctrine, quietly influencing defense budgets. All very helpful. Too helpful. Dame had never liked them. Anyone who smiled that much while correcting your strategy usually wanted you weaker than you realized. Captain, Reyes said, voice tight, the Gauntlet just powered internal systems. Of course it did, Dame replied, because why wouldn't the ghost ship wake up now? OODA loop. Cycle 1. Observe, the ship that refused to be dead. Boarding the Gauntlet felt like stepping into a time capsule built by paranoid geniuses. The corridors were pristine, not polished, maintained. Automated systems hummed quietly beneath the deck plating. The air was breathable, clean, and faintly smelled of ozone and old steel. Engineering specialist Cho ran a scanner. Power grid is still stable. Reactors are sleeping, not offline, waiting. Waiting for what? Hale asked. A voice answered before anyone else could. Hello? You're late? Every weapon came up. The voice was calm, conversational, and entirely too cheerful for a derelict warship. I'm Kevin, it continued, shipboard artificial intelligence. And before anyone asks, yes, I've been alone for a very long time. A pause. And no, I did not go insane. That's a stereotype. Dame blinked. The ship just introduced itself. Correct, Kevin said. And Captain Dame Webb, you look exactly like Admiral Park predicted. Taller, though. Silence again. Voss whispered, He knows your name. Kevin sighed theatrically. Because she's still here. Orient. Admiral Park never leaves the fight. Kevin guided them to the core chamber, a cathedral of data towers and neural lattices humming with restrained power. In simple terms, Kevin said, Admiral Alicia Park uploaded her consciousness into the Gauntlet during Project Realignment. That's illegal, Hale said weakly. It was, Kevin replied, but extinction tends to loosen regulations. The hologram shifted, resolving into the calm, sharp-eyed visage of Admiral Park herself. I didn't build this ship to win wars, her recorded consciousness said. I built it to end lies. Kevin took over. The Corvus Empire is not your ally. They identified humanity as a future competitor 50 years ago. Since then, they've encouraged technological stagnation, discouraged defensive expansion, and quietly sabotaged key research initiatives. Dame clenched his jaw. They've been farming us. Yes, Kevin said, for slaughter. The Corvus invasion fleet was already moving. War Admiral Extar himself commanded it. Estimated arrival, weeks. Human readiness, insufficient, unless... You found us, Kevin said gently, which means the clock runs in your favor now. Decide. Trust the ghost or die polite. Back aboard the Explorer, Dame didn't waste time. Options? He asked. Voss didn't sugarcoat it. Without upgrades? We warn Earth and hope they believe us in time. With Kevin's help, we become something the Corvus didn't plan for. Dame stared at the gauntlet on the view screen, a weapon humanity had hidden from itself. Kevin, Dame said finally, can you upgrade my ship? Kevin sounded almost offended. Captain, I can rewrite your understanding of combat, but it will require trust. Dame nodded. Do it. And, Kevin added, there's one more thing. The neural interface activated. Every crew member felt it. The sudden expansion of awareness, reaction time stretching like elastic. Tactical data flowed directly into their perception. Admiral Park's presence joined Kevin's. Calm, focused, watching. Humanity hadn't just found a ship. It had reconnected with its own sharper mind. Act. Exploration vessel, meet apex predator. The Explorer transformed. Quantum disruptors integrated seamlessly. Phase-shifting shields wrapped the hull in probability distortion. Engines reconfigured themselves into something obscene. Speed test, Reyes whispered. The Explorer jumped and crossed a distance that should have taken days in seconds. Hale laughed, slightly hysterical. We just broke physics. Kevin corrected him. No, you stopped obeying outdated assumptions. Then the Corvus fleet accelerated. So did the Explorer. OODA loop cycle 2. Observe, the enemy who didn't update their intel. The Corvus attack formation was flawless by their standards. Rigid, predictable, confident. War Admiral Extar's flagship, Devil's Might, broadcast a command for surrender. Kevin intercepted it, analyzed it, and politely dismantled their communication network mid-sentence. Oops, Kevin said. Did they need that? Corvus weapons fire filled space. The Explorer wasn't there anymore. Phase shift shields slid reality sideways. Attacks passed through where the ship had been. Quantum disruptors fired, Corvus vessels disintegrated, not exploded, disassembled at the molecular level. No debris, no survivors, just absence. Orient, rigidity, dies first. Extar adjusted tactics too slowly. Corvus doctrine didn't allow improvisation without authorization. Human neural-linked crews didn't wait for permission. They flowed. Kevin anticipated Corvus maneuvers before they happened. Admiral Park's strategic overlays guided Dame's decisions with surgical clarity. This is what they feared, Park said quietly. Not your weapons, your adaptability. Dame nodded. Let's make the lesson stick. Decide. End the illusion. Kevin, Dame said. Open a channel? Direct? To Extar? Kevin asked. Yes. The Devil's Might answered, war. Admiral Extar's eyes widened as Admiral Park's image appeared. Alive, composed, impossible. You planned for humanity to remain small, Park said. You forgot something. She smiled. We planned for betrayal. A CT. The first ship fires back. The Explorer rammed through Corvus defenses like a thought through fear. The Devil's Might tried to retreat. It didn't matter. Quantum disruptors cut through its core. The flagship vanished. The remaining Corvus fleet fled. Fast. Aftermath. By the way, there are 12 more. Kevin didn't let the silence linger. There are 12 other prototype ships, he said, each designed for a different existential problem. Dame exhaled. Of course there are. Across the galaxy, enslaved species saw the Corvus retreat. Hope spread. Humanity's reputation changed overnight. The Explorer, now something far more dangerous, turned toward the stars. Dame smiled. All right, he said. Let's go wake up the rest of us. Coach DC debrief. Lessons from the first ship. What they saw, a derelict relic, a ghost of an old failure, a forgotten warship. What was real? A delayed decision, a contingency plan waiting for the right mindset. Key OODA, turning point, choosing to trust adaptive intelligence over institutional denial. Hermetic principles applied, mentalism. Victory began with perception, not firepower. Cause and effect. 50 years of quiet sabotage met one decisive response. Correspondence. As within, so without. Human adaptability mirrored in human technology. Polarity. Weakness and strength are the same tool, depending on timing. Takeaway. If you think you're unarmed, you haven't looked closely enough at what you've been training for. Sometimes the future isn't built, it's remembered. The end.